This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There she is, Jennifer Lee Chan. Jennifer, good morning in your case, good afternoon on our end. 49ers beat writer for NBC and 49ers out there in the West Coast. Hi, Jennifer. Hello. Thank you.
Hello, how are you doing this morning? Afternoon to you.
I am doing fantastic. After watching what the Dolphins did yesterday, I was actually shocked that they were able to make the move for Bradley Chubb. But then they go and get a friend of Mike McDaniel in Mr. Wilson to add at running back. First of all, Jennifer, your thoughts. Talk to us about the player that the Miami Dolphins are getting.
Jeff Wilson is someone I will really miss in the locker room. He's such a great guy. And then he's also fantastic on the field. He has a lot of burst. George Kittle talks about how he has a dark place he goes to when he runs on the field. And it's not so dark that you can't talk to him when he's on the sidelines, is what Coach Shanahan says, but he's very serious and he sees only the field in front of him. So, I mean, fantastic, intense player, smart guy, good heart, and he's a fantastic guy in the locker room.
How multifaceted is he? Talk to the folks, because he's not just a one-dimensional type of back.
Yeah, no, Kyle Shanahan kind of asks that of all of his running backs. So he is a very able, very, adept at catching passes out of the backfield. He can do a lot of different things. He's always in motion, frequently swing passes, all types of stuff like that, does screens a lot, very decisive through the gaps, and just a great guy all around. So very versatile. I think he'll be great for your team.
I'm thinking, him and Mostert obviously know each other. But with Alec Ingold here now at fullback, I was telling Dolphin fans, I can almost see Wilson doing some short yardage stuff right behind Ingold, leading the way at fullback and blocking. And that would be a nice power running duo, I think, overall. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Wilson is a great guy as a complimentary back or even as a lead backs. He's done both. It's just John Lynch spoke to us yesterday and said he was so, distraught over the decision on letting Jeff Wilson go. He's not only been a great player on the field, but he's such a great person and one of John Lynch's favorite people. And I have to agree with him. So, anything you ask him to do, he's willing to do it. He really just wanted to be an integral part of an offense. And they brought in Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell's getting healthier. So, it was a question of whether he was going to be able to be a big part of the offense or not. And now, he's going to be able to do that with the Dolphins.
Oh, there's no doubt. He's going to definitely step in to that number 2 role with Mostert. They really, Chase did not work out. He was more from an inside zone scheme, and this is more of an outside zone scheme. And the poor guy, he's a good player. It's just sometimes, Jennifer, you've been covering the league. Sometimes good players end up in places that the fit is not good for them, and it just doesn't complement their skills. In a way, that's what I talked about with Tua for 2 years, that I didn't think they were ever complimenting him. And when McDaniel came in, I kind of felt that Tua was finally going to get that complimentary coach to his skill sets. And by the way, let's ask, because you were one of the ones that told us in the offseason you were high on Mike McDaniel. You were really positive on him having success as a head coach. Your thoughts on what you've seen from the other coast, watching Miami and Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, I'm always going to root for Mike McDaniel. Such an innovative guy on offense. And, there's a lot of questions in Santa Clara whether or not, his leaving for a head coaching position was going to affect how Kyle Shanahan was able to scheme up the offense. And it kind of looked like it was doing that at the beginning. I think it just took a little while to get their new system, just the stream of information to Kyle back on track. And it's been kind of a different process because there's different people involved. But Mike McDaniel is, so smart. I mean, incredibly smart, very creative in regards to the run and pass game. So it's only going to benefit whatever team he's on. And that's another thing about Jeff Wilson coming in for y'all is that, with Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert there, McDaniel knows exactly what each one is good at, and he'll put them in the best position possible. They'll play off each other. They can both be on the field at the same time, or they can, alternate, and they'll be fantastic for, whatever they're called upon for. And Mike McDaniel is going to put them in situations that are going to benefit the offense and, greatly.
Oh, I'm with you there. And listen, in the end, these good, it's like Tyreek. He leaves KC to come to Miami, and then people think, well, that's going to, a couple weeks. They had to kind of adjust. But Andy Reid, Shanahan, these kind of guys, eventually they figure it out and they adjust to what they have and they maximize, what they have. Eventually, these great offensive minds, figure out a way to do it. And by the way, I got to say, I think McDaniel's done a marvelous job with injuries along the offensive line and some of the inconsistencies that they've had at the running game. Jennifer, are you as amazed that the passing game for Miami has been that explosive when you consider that the running game hasn't been as dominant as the running games he's had in the past with San Francisco and some other teams?
I think that it's all connected, right? So if the running game is working at least better than it was in the past, you're going to get more out of the passing game. So McDaniel's so good at keeping the game balanced, and you can see that already going forward for you guys. And I think it's just going to keep going. He's going to find ways to make guys more comfortable so they're not doing what, is outside of their skill set. That's what I think makes him a great coach. And he did that with the Niners. He's done it wherever he's been. He looks at what guys are good at and maximizes their potential through that fashion.
So talk to me a little bit on your end on the Niners. Now, it looks like they're starting to figure things out and playing a little better. I know down here in South Florida, we kept rooting against the Niners because they had their first round pick, and everybody was checking, okay, did they win this week or did they lose, for the draft pick? Now it's the Broncos pick. So Dolphin fans won't be focused on that. But from what I've seen, it looks like it's getting better and better right now with San Francisco. It looks like they're starting to settle down overall as a team.
Yeah, they're finally starting to get things clicking, and especially with the arrival of Christian McCaffrey, that made a huge difference, obviously, on the offense. So, I think it's just getting, they spent the entire offseason planning for Trey Lance. And then, week 2 comes along, they lose him for the season. Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, and while they do know him and he's been their quarterback for, 5 years, it's changing everything around back to having him and what he is good at and his skill set. So reworking the offense in that way. And, it takes a while for everybody to page, the offensive line and the skill players. I mean, he's surrounded by great talent, but it's just adjusting to catching passes from Jimmy Garoppolo again, what he can do schematically. It's a little bit different. So they kind of had to not necessarily throw the whole offensive playbook out after Trey Lance was lost for the season, but they did have to do some adjustments in which, it's taken a little bit of time for them to get all on the same page.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Jennifer, tell the folks how to follow you on Twitter and also over there at NBC Sports over in the West Coast. Did we lose her? Jennifer?
Yeah, everything I have, all the handles are all at Jennifer Lee Chan. Follow us at NBC Sports Bay Area, and so all of our stories, and you can see a lot of. We wrote a lot about Jeff Wilson recently, so if you want to get to know him a little bit, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Great little thing he did. When they played the Chiefs, he and Patrick Mahomes are close. So they actually swapped jerseys after the Chiefs beat the Niners because they both come from very small towns in Texas. Jeff Wilson comes from Elkhart and Patrick Mahomes comes from Tyler. They're about 60 miles apart, little tiny towns, but they've, come out together and they are very connected just because they're Texas background, and they swapped jerseys after the game. So nice little story there.
That is awesome. Good stuff there. Jennifer, as always, thank you for taking some time and dropping the insight. We really appreciate it. Good luck to the rest of the season. Should be fun.